In previous videos I've done reviews on a number of Fender Stratocaster guitars, from the USA Professional series to the beautifully crafted custom shop 1950s and 60s models. Today I'm unboxing a Stratocaster style guitar at £65 and free delivery to my door. Can this really be any good? And particularly for someone starting out, or as some claim, is this just a heap of cheap trash? And another point often asked, what about these guitars for those looking for a budget guitar they can upgrade or perhaps use as a custom build project? Hello viewer, my name's Stu. Do please check out the rest of my channel as it covers my return back to playing and recording guitar after a 40-year break. And in a recent video I did a review on a Fender Squier debut Telecaster manufactured in China, so do take a look at that if that interests you. Now, as a Telecaster player with a number of high-end Telecasters, the Chinese built offering authorized by Fender certainly opens the door for those on a tight budget. Now this time around I decided to check out just how budget you can go and still end up with a guitar that's more than adequate for a beginner or perhaps an intermediate player on a budget. So, can a £65 guitar delivered freely to your door, can it really be any good? So coming up, number one, the guitar and its specifications and a couple of things to do to help the playing experience. Number two, what it sounds like. And number three, points of interest. And four, my likes and dislikes. Number five, conclusion, final remarks such as, is it worth upgrading or using as a base for a custom build project? So without further ado, number one, the doorbell rang and the delivery driver delivered yet another cardboard box to my studio. And again, for those interested in what you actually receive, here you can see the box it was delivered in. It's not the strongest cardboard, but adequate as the contents are further protected within a polystyrene container. Now this has arrived without any signs of damage, so that's always a good start. Now, according to Glarry's website, there is a warranty period and returns policy if you purchase direct from their website, should you have any problems. The guitar is also enclosed within a foam bag, and also inside the box is a lightweight guitar bag. And if that were not a nice little bonus, then you also get a guitar strap, a guitar lead, Allen keys, and even a plectrum. And of course, the whammy bar for the tremolo block. Now the guitar, which is a Glarry GST, and as you can see, it's a Stratocaster shaped guitar, although the headstock is clearly different from the Fender design. For the money, it's a very nicely done looking guitar. It's a lovely shade of blue into black. Now I'm not sure what the actual finish is. While it feels like a fairly hard wearing poly coating, I will say it does mark more easily compared to more expensive guitars with a thicker and harder poly finish, so do be careful. On close inspection, there are a couple of very small blemishes or scratches, pretty much unnoticeable unless you go searching. Now it's £65, I don't have any issues with that. Regarding specifications, what's it made of? Bearing in mind that this guitar is £65 delivered to your door, the body is apparently made of basswood, and you can see by comparison with a standard USA built Stratocaster, they do look fairly similar, but there are of course various differences. Now the guitar is a real lightweight and weighs in at approximately 2.5 kilograms or around 5.6 pounds. It looks as though it's got a 3-ply black pickguard and the 3 pickups, which are single coils, claiming to give an iconic vintage tone. Now I'm not sure what they are, but probably some budget ceramic type. Now alongside that, of course, we have the 5-blade selector. You have 6 individual saddles for adjusting each string, and they provide an Allen key for doing that. All the metalwork does look as though it's chrome plated. Typical of the Stratocaster style, you can see the plastic backplate which feels quite cheap really. And once removed, we see the tremolo block. Now, in regard to the tremolo arm, it's a screw-in style, and I'll say more on that later. There are the usual Stratocaster volume and two-tone controls in a black plastic finish with white numbering, and again, they tend to have a cheap feel to them. Now, the neck, which is the typical 4-bolt attachment, is made of maple, and while I'm not really sure what you would call the neck profile, it's certainly got a bit of girth to it, but it should be okay handling for a beginner. I will say that this neck feels unfinished, in other words, unsealed, and you can feel the friction as your palm moves up and down the neck. Now, not to worry, I'll give you some tips on solving that in a bit. Now, the fretboard being maple as well, and the frets, which there are 22 of, are made of some kind of metal, and looking at them, they are quite shiny, but I'll give them a little rub down as well with an abrasive rubber to further improve the feel. Now, the fret edges are really very good, although once again, there is a stickiness to the fingerboard, but more on that to come. The scale length is said to be 25.5 and the nut is 1.65 wide and made of some kind of plastic, while the machine heads are of a metal enclosed type and are quite tight feeling, which is a good thing. So you get another Allen key here to adjust the truss rod. Now, to save time, I've already played through an amplifier. All electrics work, save the last tone control. I'm not too sure whether that works or not, but I'll maybe have to have a wee further look into that. But it plays really well straight out of the box. The action is very good and the intonation is almost perfect. For beginners, this particular guitar is ready to go and playing chords is comfortable enough. It's when you come to play lead runs, scales up and down the neck, and that's when we need to and will address the stickiness that I was talking about. So, to give this budget guitar a better crack at the whip, so to speak, I've made some simple moves. Number 1, removing the strings was the first job. And for those interested, you can see my review on the Ernie Ball Power Peg motorized winder. Made the job a bit quicker. I will say that I had to poke 3 of the strings out as they appeared to be stuck in the tremolo block. Number 2, since I had the strings off, I took the opportunity to remove the scratch plate to see what was going on under the hood, so to speak, and as expected, for the money, it does look like a budget setup using budget components and materials, but all in all, the guitar I have here, it looks more than adequate. Number 3, I found both the neck and fingerboard finish quite sticky, so I simply took a can of good quality furniture wood polish and gave both neck and fingerboard a good rubbing down. And this is a very simple and quick approach which does help smooth things out. The frets are very good, but since the strings were off, I gave them a rub down with an abrasive rubber. And I covered the pickups when doing this because you don't want any metal filings being pulled in by the magnets on the pickups. I then restrung the guitar with a set of Ernie Ball Custom 46 10-gauge strings, which is my preferred choice. And I have to say, it made a big difference to the guitar. Now, number 4, intonation was perfect, so no adjustments required. I do use my TC Polytune 3 for tuning, which is an accurate tuner. And as mentioned, intonation was very good already straight out of the box. There are a lot of videos already on YouTube regarding guitar setups, but if anyone needs any help, please message below and I'll be happy to try and help you out. So, number 2, how does it sound? Well, I'm going to be playing through this Blackstar Studio 10 6L6 combo amplifier, and you can see my review on that. Just a wee note for anyone watching that's new to electric guitar playing. When it comes to choosing an amplifier, a well-made amplifier married to the right high-quality speaker really does make a difference. Even a very costly guitar can sound lackluster through a poor backline. A quick starter for beginners, you may want to check out my Vox Portable Amp Plug review. You might just find this a great way to get started. So to demonstrate some tones, I'll play some chords and single style notes, clean with some reverb, across the 5 selector positions. So neck pickup position 1, position 2, middle position 3, position 4, bridge position 5. The tremolo And now adjusting the amplifier controls for a moderate overdrive tone with reverb, I'll demonstrate a few tones and general riffs. And now just to illustrate how you can play all over the neck without any tuning issues, here's a sample backing track. And for those interested, you can also use my backing tracks found on my channel playlist to help you practice. Now, regarding the tremolo, out of the box it was virtually unusable, but after putting new strings onto the guitar, it's not bad at all, although it's pretty stiff to use. Removing a spring might help this, but it could cause other tuning problems, so do take note if you're going to do that. So number 3. Things I would personally mention that might be of interest. So, without getting into the meaningless conversation that so often happens when individuals they pit products against one another, this is a budget model entry-level guitar, and for what it is, how it is manufactured and sold, my generation would have loved to have had the choices that are available today, and I would have loved to have had this guitar when I first started out. I did a video some time ago regarding another budget guitar that was actually rescued from a rubbish tip, and all that was wrong with it, it had a broken string and it just needed a little bit of setting up, and the intonation just needed altered a little bit. So on that note, number 4, likes and dislikes. What do I like? I bought this guitar to review, as I do get asked about budget models, and I was curious to see just how little you need to spend to get started on your electric guitar journey. From my perspective as a Stratocaster Telecaster player, thinking about someone taking up guitar for the first time or coming back to the guitar, if you're on a budget but you'd love a Stratocaster style guitar, as I mentioned, I would have been really pleased to have had this guitar myself when starting out. Now this particular guitar, which does look very fetching in its blue burst finish, out of the box after tuning up, it played very well. As I say, not the tremolo arm. The action and intonation was very good, and after playing for just a wee while, during general string bends, bedding the strings in, I found tuning stability on this guitar was really stable. However, a better set of strings really improved things. Now, the neck is quite chunky but comfortable. Perhaps a slimmer neck would be better for smaller hands. However, for any guitar player looking to play up and down the neck, you're going to need to treat the neck for a better playing experience. As I illustrated, I simply used a good wood furniture polish for quickness, and it worked really well. If you play a lot, you're going to need to repeat the process. Now, for the money, it's a very nice looking guitar. It's comfortable to hold and it sounds quite nice. If you can't learn on this, you won't learn on anything. And that leads me to, what do I dislike? You know, to be overly critical on a guitar costing what this does would be unfounded. It's deliberately produced to a price point and manufactured to produce a musical instrument that opens the doors for many who may otherwise not be able to afford it. So, from that perspective, it's a good thing. The strings are okay for what they are, but if you're already a guitar player, you are going to definitely want to put your own favourite brand and gauge of strings on. The unfinished maple neck needs to be sealed or polished for a better playing experience for those playing this guitar all over the neck. The tremolo, it works well when a better set of strings were put on the guitar. So again, you might be able to do a bit more adjustment if you take off one of the springs, but it does work. It's a lovely finish on the body, but do beware that it's not as hard wearing as a more expensive guitar with a thicker poly coat. The guitar is a real lightweight compared to Fender Strats and Tellies that I own, so it does feel a bit odd in my hands, and of course that might be a plus for others, particularly a youngster. So number 5, conclusion. Well, as always, no one paid me to mention any of the products shown. I bought this guitar, just my opinions. So, is this guitar worth upgrading? Well, if you can get a good set of pickups and electrics for next to nothing, then that will certainly improve the quality of tone. Changing machine heads, trem block and the nut, in my opinion, it's not worth it. Everything works well enough. I was asked about buying a cheap guitar as a starting point for a building project compared to buying a kit. And again, as much depends on your preferences, your DIY skills and tools available. Would I use something like this for a project? The answer is no, but that's me. I've mentioned before my advice to someone starting out. I would try to chat with a guitar player for advice. This particular guitar is very good value for money. I have no idea about the other products that Glarry sell, so I can't give any opinion as far as that's concerned in regards to the company. Certainly, as a company, they replied quickly to a question I had regarding my purchase. The guitar arrived promptly, and it's a lovely looking instrument, and it plays well, it stays in tune, and really, I think they've done a great job for the money. Now, the Fender Squire debut Telecaster at £129 is double the price. Now, I reviewed that recently. Definitely, it's a superior feel and tone compared to this, but again, talking with a guitar player can help you make a decision if you're unsure. So speaking of this guitar, I will at a later point be giving it away to someone, so do subscribe to the channel, like and comment, and help me get those channel numbers up so that in turn I might be able to review more products and give some more products away. And for all of those who have a love for Stratocasters, do check out my reviews on both American Professional and Custom Shop Relics. I hope you've enjoyed this video and perhaps it's been helpful for some. So do think about subscribing, hit the bell to get notifications, like and share as always. It really does help the channel. Do check out my channel playlists, which cover my journey back to playing and recording guitar after a 40-year break. Lots of equipment reviews as I seek out the gear that I use in recording. So whether you're a newcomer, an ongoing player, or like me, an old hand returning to guitar playing, I always take time to engage with folks who take time to comment. So until next time, the journey continues. Do take care.